See the today's newspaper, Indian Express. Modi Morrison virtual meet today. Rupees 1,500 crore project to be unveiled. An initiative worth about 1,500 crores in areas including education, clean tech, critical minerals, space, foreign trade, skills innovation, defense exchange. As Prime Minister Modi holds a virtual summit with Australian counterpart Scott Morrison on Monday. Australia-India Young Defence Officers Exchange Program will be launched on Monday. Australia will also announce a return of around 29 cultural significant artifacts. Australia has large lithium reserve and can be reliable supplier of critical minerals needed for electric vehicle and batteries. Okay, continuation of the article is here. The scholarship on on the lines of Fulbright or Rhodes Scholarship, which will be called Maitri Scholarship. A Center for Excellence in Critical and Emerging Technologies will be launched in Bengaluru to establish the fast task force on recognition of each educational qualification. Each other's educational qualification, which will facilitate easier movement and mobility of the student and skilled professionals between the two countries. June 4, 2020, when the Indian-Australia relationship was elevated to the comprehensive strategic partnership, all countries including India had recognized that each country has a different perspective because of its particular bilateral relationship. Okay. Next article is about Ukraine as a mirror to India Pacific, says top Beijing official. The parallels between NATO strategy of eastward expansion in the Europe and creation of small blocks and great confrontation in the Indo-Pacific, the region that China calls Asia Pacific. A mirror offers to observe the situation in Asia Pacific. We cannot but ask how we can prevent the crisis like this from happening in Asia Pacific. Okay, let's see the continuation of the article in the second page. Okay, two opposite choices: should we build an open, inclusive family for win-win cooperation, or go for small blocks based on Cold War mentality and group confrontation? Okay, the US is creating gangs in the Indo-Pacific to build a NATO-like structure. Has described Quad as being part of it, but this is probably the first time that China has framed a Ukrainian crisis in terms of NATO's eastward expansion and juxtaposed it to US strategy in Indo-Pacific. Okay, this is what the article is all about. Next article is related to a new health law draft. 4-tier system clearly defined the power from establishing a 4-tier health administration system, a well-defined power to set up a public health cadre. National public health bill is expected to be introduced in the monsoon session of the parliament. Once enacted, it will replace the 125-year-old Epidemic Diseases Act 1897. It will also cover public health emergency caused by bioterrorism, natural disasters, chemical and nuclear attacks or accidents. The multi-sectoral national, state, district, block level public health authorities who will have well-defined powers and functions to deal with the public health emergencies, while national public health authority is proposed to be headed by Union Ministry of Health. New health law draft 4-tier system clearly define the powers. Continuation here be chaired by Health Minister of the state. District collectors will lead the next tier and block units will be headed by block medical officers or medical superintendents. These authorities will have the power to take measures for prevention of non-communicable diseases and emerging infection diseases, it is learned. The proposed law also provides for the creation of public health cadres at national and state level, it is learned. It defines the lockdown as a restriction with certain conditions or complete prohibition of running any form of transport on roads or inland water, it is learned. The draft lays down several situations in which public health emergency can be declared. These include bioterrorism, appearance of novel and previously controlled eradicated infectious agents or biological toxins, a nuclear disaster, nuclear attack or accidental release of chemicals, nuclear attack or accident. Okay, this is what all about. Next article that we are moving into is related to at Warsaw, a city welcomes war refugees. Over 2 lakh refugees have chosen to remain in the city, marking a 16% hike in its population of around 1.8 million before the war begins. And the Poland, which had once closed its border with Belarus to block those escaping violence in Syria and Libya, and is now reportedly number 4 on the global list of refugee hosts after Turkey, Colombia, and US. It is outpouring isn't just about geography. Poland shares 300-mile border with Ukraine. Okay. Next article that we are moving into is related to Atmanirbhar Bharat, remedy for adverse global events, says Prime Minister. It is difficult to predict what happens in the current world, where it has happened, what is its impact would be on us, and now the world has become so small that impact on India is inevitable. Manipur Chief Minister meeting the Finance Minister. Okay. Next article is about Russia oil import. Pakistan PM praises India's independent foreign policy. Prime Minister Imran Khan Sunday lauded India for importing crude oil from Russia despite American sanctions. Khan said India, which is a part of Quad, has imported oil from Russia despite American sanctions. Prime Minister said this foreign policy too would favor the people of Pakistan. It haven't bowed before anyone and will not let any nation bow either. Okay, well, this is what it's all about. Next article is to mark 30 years of diplomatic ties, Israeli Prime Minister to visit India on April 2. The first week of April, to mark the 30th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. It is learned that visit will be from April 2 to 5. Two countries in the areas of innovation, technology, security, cyber, agriculture, and climate change. India, Israel have strengthened their ties in the recent years as it became much more visible after Benjamin Netanyahu. Though New Delhi recognized Israel in 1950, full diplomatic relationship was established in 1992. Bihar land reform for the first time, a dynamic map that captures a change in ownership. Bihar is the first state to introduce a concept of dynamic map, whereby all mutations will also mean not only the textual mutation but also the mutation of the survey map. As such, every time a mutation takes place now, it will entail 3 changes. First, a change in text. Second, a change in land parcel. Third, modification of survey map. Next article is about friend with benefits. Japanese Prime Minister visit the reaffirm silence of bilateral with India at a time of geopolitical ferment. He assumed office in October last year, highlights the importance of the relation. The relationship was not as close it could have been. It acquired salience and depth in 2006 when Delhi-Tokyo formed a strategic global partnership. Since then, the trade, military exercise, consensus on rule-based maritime order have seen two countries draw close together. At the target of 3.5 trillion Japanese yen under the 2014 Investment Promotion Partnership has met is impressive. The announcement that Japan will now invest 5 trillion Japanese yen signals that Japan companies and governments continue to see India as a viable investment destination. It also holds the possibility for the second and third largest economy in Asia to effectively collaborate in face of Chinese dominance. India, labor and build supply chains. Two countries have also committed to cooperation of digital security, green technologies on strategic fronts to the joint statement and briefing by officials from both sides indicates a forward movement. Tokyo and New Delhi have managed to present a united front vis-a-vis China, while Kishida condemned the Russian attack and Indian side called for peace and dialogue. This is in line with the two countries' position and individual strategic needs. On your guard. That means India needs indigenization in defense technology manufacturing to ensure a strategic autonomy. Okay. Let us see this article in the next video. If you like the video, please do share, comment, like and subscribe. Okay. Thank you.